Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Welcome back to the show where we interview the nation's leading real estate entrepreneurs. It's your host, Stephen Schmidt, and I've got a real treat for you today. I got Tony Robinson in the house, and we are going to go over all things real estate. Tony has been in the investing space for over 27 years now, has a property management company and does a little bit of everything when it comes into the investing space, and is passionate about helping other people create financial freedom through the platform. If you're joining us for a second, third, or 100th time, go ahead and keep listening. And if it's your first time, obviously you're going to be in for a treat. This is going to be a new regular on your listening list. So just remember, before we get into it, at Investor Fuel, we help real estate investors, service providers, and real estate entrepreneurs 2 to 5x their businesses to allow them to build the businesses they've always wanted, to allow them to live the lives they've always dreamed of. That being said, Tony, welcome to the show today.
Man, thank you for having me, Stephen. I'm looking forward to it. It's a pleasure.
Me too. I know we're going to go all over the place today, but before we do that, can you just share a little bit about yourself and how you got here for our listeners?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you for having me once again. Like I mentioned, I really got started in the real estate space in college, trying to find really a way to pay back Sally Mae. I think we all can understand what that looks like if you went to college. And I started reading up a lot of books and got a hold of some independent study classes with a professor who owned some real estate himself. And I took about 6 or 7 independent study classes on real estate to kind of get familiar with the background. Read a bunch of books, and I saw that a lot of the guys who were doing it well were really investing in multifamily. And so my first time out the gate, I figured I wanted a house hat, and I bought a 3-family. So my first property was a 3-family. I bought it the week I graduated from undergrad, and I've been buying and selling property ever since.
No kidding. And one of the things I forgot to mention in the intro is that you're not just a real estate investor. You're also a speaker. You're a consultant. You've got the whole gamut, the whole package. Now, a lot of people, I think, are scared of multifamily, but not you. When you got started in it, what made you decide to go that route? Was it just the ability to live in one unit, rent the others out, and you saw that as a long-term wealth thing, or did you realize what it was going to become, 27 years post now?
Had no idea. Foreshadowing, right? I was really just following with the guys who made a lot of money in the 70s and in the 80s, and then wrote books about it, right? The Robert G. Allen and some of the
Right.
older guys, some of the guys who were doing it well back in the 70s and 80s, and they were talking about multifamily at that time. So after reading several books, maybe about 20 books on real estate, trying to just get familiar with the industry, I really wanted to hone in on multifamily since that was very prevalent here in Northeast Ohio.
Sure. Now, did you actually use your degree? Like, were you working a full-time job when you first got into it, or what
Yes,
what
I
was
was
your situation like when that happened?
Makes sense. Yeah, I was a banker, so I was working in banking at that time. Really entry level customer service, telemarketing, things like that.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Call center type work. And then once I graduated, I started getting into management and things like that. So I already had a background in banking and credit, and sales, and then management as well. So just really having that kind of that background gave me a leg up to kind of understand credit very early, from age of like 19, 20. So I wasn't doing anything specific or
Mm,
had any at home training. It was really on the job training.
sure. Now, with that, a lot of people, a lot of big buzzwords that you hear for people getting started in real estate is you can do it with no money, no credit,
hmm
all of those
hmm
things. How did having an understanding of that benefit you, or did you go that route where you didn't need it at all?
No, that's a great question. No, I absolutely needed credit. Probably when I graduated, I probably had a 750 credit score just from living on my own as a undergrad student. I had an apartment on my own, with no roommate, and I was working probably 30 hours a week at that time. So just being able to manage my bills and kind of manage a budget at that time, having some of the core principal foundations of home ownership, right? Um, and so for me at that time, I was really looking at using credit in the FHA program to be able to get a jump start into real estate. So I absolutely used credit like most people. And it wasn't until way down the line that became, immersed in other ways to buy property outside of the traditional way.
Mm. So now, when did you decide to actually leave your job in the banking sector and go full time into real estate?
So I started my business in 2010. And so I spent 14, almost 15 years in banking. And I was
Wow.
in grad school at the time as well. And so I really wanted to, use my degree for something other than a job. And so, like most
Mm.
MBA students, your one of your classes is entrepreneurship, and I did my business plan on my own business. So I didn't see a reason to do a lot of work into Walmart or Amazon. I might as well do it on my own business. And so had the opportunity to
Mm.
do that, and then so since 2010, I've been full time as an entrepreneur, working in management and doing real estate services.
No kidding. So you worked for 14 years before making that jump. What was the final kicker for you when you made that decision for yourself and you were like, I got to go all in on this?
Getting laid off. you know, when banks merge, a lot of times positions kind of get let go or merged together. And so banks are always merging. And this happened back in '08. And I think everybody remembers what happened back in '08. So a lot of banks were getting taken under, as the term is. And so it was just a good time for me to kind of make a transition. And I was in grad school, like I mentioned at the time. And so just really making the transition to start my own thing and seeing if I had the chops to make it work.
Yeah, 100%. Now, when you did that, one of the things that I find is I interviewed quite a bit of people that got their start between 2007 and 2010, right? Like
hmm
right in the
hmm
thick of it all. Do you think that getting started in a down market, because 2010 we were still kind of in that
Yes.
phase,
Yes, we
people
were.
were losing everything, all of
Yep.
that. Do you think
Absolutely.
that were you personally affected by that yourself, and what made you keep going if so, or did you look at that as more opportunity for you?
Man, that's a really phenomenal question. And I think it's important for the times that we're in right now, right? I think right now,
Sure.
for the last year, for example, we've been hearing interest rates are high, interest rates are high.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
When I was doing mortgage loans back in 2005, the rates were 6.75 the way they are today. So the rates
Right.
aren't high. They're high compared to the historically lows of 2 and 3%, but these are still very lendable rates. And so to
Mm.
answer your question, if you listen to the news and you know that's the only thing you're listening to and following without kind of doing more homework, you don't have the proper basis for understanding. At the same time, I think a down market creates a great opportunity to invest in any product or service, but especially in real estate. We've been in a high for about the last 5 to 8 years, and I think there is probably some contraction coming as cyclical economies go. But I think investing in a down market like in '08, 2010 is a great opportunity because prices were low. So if you're buying low and selling high, it created a great environment.
Mm. Yeah. You mentioned in that last piece that in a down market, almost everything, not everything, of course, but between businesses, products, services, et cetera, real estate, it's always a great time to invest. Why do you think that is?
Well, history. So if you
Mm.
look at the 100-year history of the stock market and the 100-year history of real estate, really they kind of have a parallel, but real estate does beat it out in the long run. And it's real estate is a double asset because it's tangible. It's not just paper; it's also tangible. So, uh, looking at uh, things that have been stable over 100 years in our country, real estate has always been very stable. Most of the millionaires made their money in real estate to some capacity, and so having a foundation in some type of real estate capacity in your portfolio just makes sense.
Yeah, it's like Warren says, right? Old
Yes.
Daddy Warren, when people get scared, I get greedy, and when and when people get greedy, I get scared, right?
Man, it's so ironic you mentioned him. I just reposted something from him this morning on my social platform, him talking about the 15 determinants of wealth, right? And so,
Mm,
if you don't have the first thing he mentioned was financial literacy, right? And so, having
mm.
some basics with financial literacy, as Mr. Buffett says, is really the way to go. So,
Yeah. When you mentioned financial literacy there and you mentioned like the basics and whatnot, what are some of the
mhm.
basics that most people miss because it's not something we're taught in school?
I mean, there's a lot. So, it's interesting, right? Having matriculated through undergrad and grad school and all that, it kind of gives you some basics, but it really doesn't teach you the world of finance and the world of investing at all. You either learn that on the job or you learn it with the skin off your own back, right? And so,
Right.
um, just considering um, the basics, there's so much we're not taught in school. For example, savings, buying a single family home. That should almost never be your first purchase.
Mm,
I tell that to a lot of my students in my mentoring program that if you don't, and it's kind of going back to Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? If the house or asset doesn't pay you, it's not an asset. And so most of us who are renting and trying to start a family, we buy a house, we think of buying a home, which logically makes sense. At the same time, you're trading your rent bill for a mortgage bill, and it's really not an asset that doesn't pay you in return. And so for me,
mm,
that's the exact reason I wanted to buy multifamily first. Now, I still own single family today, but I'm very much a multifamily buyer because of the additional cash flow that the other units bring in.
Sure. And I think a lot of people misconstrue multifamily with apartments. Multifamily means more than just that. So,
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Correct.
out of like in that asset class of multifamily, do you recommend for people getting started that they focus on like a triplex or a quadplex or something along those lines? Or like,
Sure.
what's your favorite strategy there?
My favorite strategy is 4-3-2-1, right? Buy the 4 unit first, maximize. As most people know, the lending programs that are available, and FHA is being very friendly to first time home buyers. It gives you an opportunity for a very low down payment of I guess it's 3.5%. And so taking advantage of the guidelines, if you understand the banking criteria, of what you can purchase in its maximum capacity at your first time with that low down payment. So we absolutely teach the 4-3-2-1 strategy, I mean I'm employing my kids to do the same thing. So I've got one coming through college
Mm,
right now. She told me just the
nice.
other day that she wants her graduation gift instead of a trip or a car. She wants her first property. So she's finally listening. She's finally listening. So I'm happy
That's
to
how
hear
you know you raised them right, right?
that.
I
Absolutely.
love
Yes,
that.
sir.
I always tell people, and I'm not even close to this, but from my observation, you don't know how good of a job you did as a parent until they're about 30.
That's it. That's it. That's it. It takes a
I
little
love
time.
that.
It takes a little time
Now,
for
when
sure.
are you still, I mean, after 27 years of investing, obviously a really great professional career that you had for the time being until 2010. Are you still in an accumulation phase, would you say, or are you more in a legacy building phase now?
No, 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 no. I'm still in accumulation phase for sure. So as an example,
Mm,
right now, I'm moving on from an investment property I used as an Airbnb. I bought it about 2 years ago, and it was always going to be a short-term investment. So now I'm moving that property and not going to 1031, but looking to use that and those proceeds for a lot bigger purchase, probably something in the 10 to 15 unit capacity. And so I'm still very much in acquisition mode. Absolutely.
mm. What'll be that point when you feel like you've made it,
It's
or will
difficult
you
when you
ever
have
hit that?
kids. It's difficult when you have kids, right? Um,
For sure.
my youngest, all my kids are school age, right? So you've got to kind of get them through the schooling and college and all that
Mm,
because you're going to have
sure.
expenses, right? And so if I do it
Yeah.
right, we'll get a multifamily for each kid, and let that pay for their expenses. But I don't know that somebody just asked me this the other day. When you stop the hustle and bustle, and it's really a mental hustle and bustle when you're trying to put deals
Mm,
together and you're trying to make things happen. It's really more mental than it is physical as much when you've got the experience. And so, just making sure the numbers work, making sure that you did your calculations and your estimations and your repairs and all those kind of things, looking at the valuations in the area. You've done all those things correctly. There's still obviously always opportunities to lose your shirt, but managing that
mm.
process. And so I think there's still a little bit of juice or a lot of juice in me to manage those deals. I manage them for my clients all the time, and then obviously doing my own deals.
Sure. Now, when was that point in your real estate career of buying, flipping, wholesaling, all the above, that then you realized I should probably also start a property management company? Like when did that come into play?
So really, it's a great question, but it was actually some of it happened in reverse. So I
Really?
recognized my skill set as a banker and as a longtime property owner, which is the reason I started property management. I knew that there were a lot of people like me as investors who had property but didn't want to do the work of maintaining the property. And so
Sure.
I knew that there was a niche market within that of other investors who didn't want to do the work. And so
Mm,
as I started my own company and focused on servicing those properties, it gave me an entrant into the marketplace to say, hey, where's the sweet spot? And so managing property and investing in property, I probably will put down the management at some point and focus on just my own properties and my own portfolio, but also doing speaking. I probably won't stop that either. So that's very much a passion for
mm.
me to help others, and so I'll always continue to do something along those lines.
Sure. With the speaking, I was going to transition to that at some point, and I guess that's a perfect segue for us here. When did you start getting invited to speak? Did you build your own stage first? Did you get invited? What did that look like, and how long have you been doing that now as a consultant and a speaker?
So I started doing speaking in 2017. I really toyed with it for a couple of years. When you've got a background in facilitation and continuing education and doing those things in corporate, you think you've got the skill set to be able to do it on your own, and it's very, very different. It's very
Sure.
different. But so I needed to hone my skills and be able to do that. So I start getting involved in some speaker academies and things of that nature to kind of understand what the experienced speakers were doing. That led me to publish
Mhm.
my first. Well, this is the second edition, but this is my real estate book, "The 9 Rules for Guaranteed Real Estate Success." So the offensive playbook is the title, and we really kind of honed in on the principal things that we've always done as our 9 rules to make sure we buy appropriately and things of that nature. So 2017, I got invited to speak first, and then I kind of built the stage after that.
Mhm.
And
And so
now
tell
we,
us a little bit more about that.
so about, so I really started doing events locally, like I guess like most of us are doing events locally, podcasts, things of that nature. I got invited to be part of Black CEO, which is a national network of Black entrepreneurs. And being involved there, I made some great relationships and found a TV partner who is helping me do work on my documentary. So we're working on several things within the speaker space. And about 4 years ago, I started doing the bus tours. And the bus tours are really what we do twice a year to be able to get entrepreneurs or beginning investors or even some experienced investors involved in what's going on here in Northeast Ohio and give them an idea that we are the boots on the ground, we are the experts in the area, and we can help you kind of grow your portfolio if you're looking for new markets.
Now, what is a bus tour for those of us that maybe haven't heard that before?
Sure. So we really bring all of our community resources into play. And what I mean by that is we've got our realtors, our contractors, our property managers, our insurance people, our title companies, our lenders, and we bring them as resources on the bus. And we sell tickets, of course, and we bring investors from all over the city, all over the country into Northeast Ohio, and we do tours on the east side and west side of the city. Ohio and Cleveland is split by Lake Erie. And so we do tours on both sides of the city and we look at properties in all different stages, properties in renovation stage, properties that are market ready, property that are, being first acquired. So we look at all different stages and then we talk about the main 4 strategies that really work well here in Cleveland, which is Airbnb or short-term rental, obviously buy and hold, fix and flip, and then wholesaling. And so we're getting investors involved in one of those 4 ways. And then we offer training, of course, as well after the bus tour to get folks who are really ready to kind of get those deals going. We'll either get them set up on a deal or get them in a training class to be ready to start doing their own deals.
Now, when did you, or not when, but what made you decide to start doing that?
Really looking at building a community. I really wanted to build my own ecosystem of investors and people that we've helped over the years to be able to stay in a community, so to speak, to be a resource for each other. As you know, minorities are very far behind when it comes to entrepreneurship, when it comes to home ownership and things of that nature. So that's very much a sweet spot for me to be able to help our people be able to really kind of get a foot up, a leg up in the world of investing and finance. And then for my clients who really don't look like me, it's really helping them understand what's really going on here in Northeast Ohio and how we can be an asset and resource to them as they look at new markets to spend and grow their money.
Yeah, for sure. Now, let me ask you this. If you had to take all of the experience and everything that you've gained over the last 27 years, but you had to go back to the beginning, not start over now, but you went back to the beginning and you had to start all over with all of that, what would you do different and what would you do the same?
Man, I really have not thought about that, at least in that way. And so I love the journey, and I love the journey that I'm on. And so, you always need those ups and downs to kind of keep you grounded and give you some lessons. Really, if I didn't understand what some of the old guys like Robert G. Allen and the guys in the 70s and 80s, I didn't understand what they meant by wholesaling. I didn't understand what they meant by get a house under contract. And so if I were to go back and do things all over again, one of my favorite asset classes were REOs, bank REOs, because we know that banks, as a former banker, I know that banks don't want to be in the business of real estate. They just want the loans. Well, when they became homeowners, de facto homeowners, especially in mass after '08, I knew, wait a minute, this is still an attractive asset class, but I started getting really more in tune with what other investors were doing and how they were able to make such large profit on deals by getting them under contract at great prices. And then whether they kept them or moved them, it really didn't matter. It was the getting them under contract piece at that low rate that made a difference. And so I probably would wholesale a lot sooner than I really started doing. At the same time, I love the property management journey because it keeps me with my boots on the ground and able to be pliable in so many different areas.
Sure. You sound like somebody that's an avid learner. Are you still learning new things even today?
Hell yes, my man.
Love
Thank you
that.
for observing
I
that. But absolutely,
You
I'm a
bet.
lifelong learner. I'm a thirst for knowledge, and so absolutely, as someone who coaches others, you always have to be constantly learning as well. And so it's important for me to kind of make sure I stay sharp, especially with different technologies as the world evolves so quickly around us. Making sure I'm up on AI, for example. Make sure I'm understanding fractional investing in real estate, digital real estate. So all those different things that
Yeah.
as technology evolves, the economies evolve, I also need to be learning and evolving as well.
Mm. And that was, and in all fairness, it was kind of a setup to my next question, depending
Okay.
on how you answered that. And I assumed because of what I observed, but my next question from that is, one of the things you mentioned in the almost the beginning of our conversation was you had a mentor. And so, how important has mentorship been to you throughout the years, and what do you look for in a mentor now?
Interesting. So my mentor started very early because I was in college, and that's really the playing field for mentorship. If I was
Hmm.
if I understood that, I would have been super intentional about seeking mentorship earlier. I was really
Mm.
just looking for a leg in a lane, really just trying to find my way as a
A leg
somebody
in a
that was,
lane. I like that.
yeah, just really kind of find my lane because I knew I was getting ready to graduate soon. I already had this job at the bank, working 30 hours a week or so, had my own apartment. And so I knew that I had a steady employment or, a soon to be full-time job upon graduation, but I didn't have a lane, if that makes sense. And so really looking
Yeah.
at real estate as a lane to be able to say, okay, I got my career and my job, but I also want to have something else going on as well. And that something else for me
Right.
has just always been investment real estate.
Yeah. A leg in a lane. I'm stuck on that because it almost another way of saying that, not really another way of saying that specifically, but something pretty close to that just sparks in my brain is, you were somebody that already achieved some success, already is doing more than the average person around you, all of those things. So you're somebody that wasn't looking for a handout, you were somebody looking for a hand up.
Oh, absolutely. And you asked
Mm.
about mentorship that I didn't fully answer, but at that
Sure.
time, I was really just looking for somebody that would help me take some independent study classes to get out of the
Mm.
classroom, but still get those needed credits to graduate, right? So I had a
You
selfish
bet.
motivation, and I didn't really understand that I was looking for a mentor. But my professor, who I had all these classes with, he also owned real estate. And so he became a mentor, de facto mentor, without me really understanding what I was looking for. And then the books that he
Mm.
assigned and the assignments and the tests and all that really kind of gave me some entry level knowledge into the world of real estate and what I needed to look for and things of that nature. Now, uh, I need a mentor, right? I've done so
Mm.
many things and helped so many other people. There's always levels to this, right? You mentioned,
Sure.
for example, uh, Daddy Buffett, right? Warren Buffett. And so if you ain't at his level, you got a way to go,
For
right?
sure. Because
So
there's always a next level, right?
there's
There's always a
always a
gap
level.
that you need to close.
There's always a
100%.
level, right? And so I'm not actively looking, but I actually probably should be looking for a mentor to help me kind of make that next level journey. We've scaled the business up, and now we're ready to scale again.
Mm. Yeah, 100%. Love that. What's the next step for you then? What does that look like?
So I'm really putting together syndications at this time and looking to acquire some larger scale properties. I'm also looking to invest in Puerto Rico quite heavily for the
Mm.
investors who are looking for opportunities, especially some tax havens. Puerto Rico offers some phenomenal tax advantages. If you have property there or investments in Puerto Rico. And so some of my partners are looking at gaining and really, I've been an Airbnb host in Puerto Rico for about a year now. And so we're really looking to gain and get a foothold in what we're doing in the short term rental space in Puerto Rico. So that's
Love that.
something that's new and exciting that we're going to be doing here. And my syndication partners, we're just looking for great value properties. And we're looking for some great deals. So if there are some folks on your platform who have some uh, investment opportunities and deals that make sense and have some equity, we're certainly looking at all those opportunities to add new things to our portfolio.
100%. Well, Tony, thanks for joining us today. If anybody wants to learn more about you or what you're working on, I think this is kind of a perfect place to do a little plug of yourself. Where should they go for
Sure.
that?
Man, all of my content is on my website at tonyrobinson.com. It's Tone, Tony with an E, Robinson.com. So tonyrobinson.com. Check us out for on our event coming up May 31st. You can check us on Eventbrite. We're hosting on that platform, but our real estate bus tours really give investors, new and experienced investors, an opportunity to collaborate in our ecosystem here in Northeast Ohio with real estate professionals that have been doing it for a very long time and really looking to help grow portfolios here. What's going on in Northeast Ohio? We're a mid-major city that's trying to be a major city again, but Northeast Ohio is on the come up, and it's always been a great real estate market. Investors are really starting to just kind of understand that in the last 5 or 10 years. But we really have a one-stop shop where we can help investors, park that money here in Northeast Ohio gain some property here and grow exponentially what you can do in other places.
Boom. You heard it here first, folks. Go drop him a follow. Check out the website and go show him some love from the Investor Fuel family. And
I appreciate
I
it.
hope you enjoyed today's episode. Tony, thanks for being here. We'll see y'all in the next episode.
Man, thank you for having me. I look forward to it. Take care.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.